be sparking and rushing, man, like inside the dark, call me Bill Snatcher. Just a brother for the rapture. I hang live, holding on strong, hard to capture. Extravagant, resurrect the track and it's militant. And I react like a convict and start killing. It's manifested. The gods work like appliances, dealing in my cycle a lot.
Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another discussion for Boruto Naruto Next Generations. And for anime fans, don't worry, this video is going to be safe for you guys to actually check out. I'm going to refer to some stuff that people that read the manga are going to know what I'm talking about, but you guys, this is absolutely safe. This is just something new that we're trying here on the channel to appease both the anime fans and the manga fans as well. So, but with that being said though, if you're still here, I'm assuming that you're all caught up on the Boruto anime, and if you're a manga reader, I'm assuming that you're caught up on the manga. So I think that we need to have a conversation about the character of Mitsuki, because when you look at the last few Boruto episodes, one thing that they've done is, you know, they've found extra ways to have Mitsuki incorporated into the story. And in the manga, we all know that Mitsuki, for the most part, has been not only a great disappointment, but he's also been a bit of a no-show in the last few events that take place in the manga. And now that we're in a situation where different things have transpired that are going to require Team 7 to get extremely powerful to meet the current threats that are out there, I think we need to turn our attention to Mitsuki, because when you look at this clone that Orochimaru has created, I think that Mitsuki has a huge reservoir of potential that has not actually been tapped into. I think that the very first thing that you can look at when it comes to Mitsuki in terms of his capability for getting stronger is the fact that before he even went to the academy, Mitsuki had Sage Mode. It wasn't fully controlled, but he had Sage Mode, and it was enough. He was able to actually speed blitz Orochimaru, and this version of Orochimaru that we saw before is a lot stronger than the Orochimaru that we saw in the early parts of Shippuden. This is Orochimaru now who has absorbed the White Zetsu, has absorbed Hashirama cells, and so this version of Orochimaru now is significantly stronger, and for Mitsuki to be able to blitz like that, that says a lot. Now, the thing you have to kind of keep in mind is that when it comes to his actual growth, there's a few different ways that Mitsuki's character can go. So obviously you can double down with Sage Mode. I think that this is probably the easiest way. So the Boruto anime talked about the fact that Mitsuki's body, if he brought out the full power of his Sage Mode, it does extreme damage to his internal organs, enough so to where his brother Log had to actually sacrifice some of his own body to be able to repair the damage that Mitsuki did to himself. And so I think that having Mitsuki go back to Ryuchi Cave and have Mitsuki actually go through those trials and actually sit down and do the actual training, I think there could be a way to actually find whatever gap exists with this Sage Mode, because when you look at some of those abilities with those ethereal snakes and everything, Mitsuki's Sage Mode has the potential to be an absolute game changer. Another thing to where I think you could see a bit of an upgrade for the character is you actually upgrade the character's mind a little bit. So we know from the anime that when it comes to medical ninjutsu, Sarada, despite what we saw in the Hidden Miss Field Trip novel arc, where in that light novel you saw how Sarada was able to, on sheer luck, actually restart somebody's cardiovascular system using medical ninjutsu. In the anime, we know that Sarada has absolutely no talent for it. And so I think that having Mitsuki not only go to Ryuchi Cave, but potentially train on the Kabuto while he's there at Ryuchi Cave, that opens up the door for Mitsuki to start learning medical ninjutsu. And when you add in the fact that Orochimaru has put all these different knowledge of poisons into his son's mind, I think that that is something that could work for the guy, because it allows him to fight on a few different levels. So Sage Mode allows him to kind of walk that same line that Sakura had to walk with Tsunade's training, to where basically Mitsuki's Sage Mode is what the Byakugo seal was for Sakura, where she couldn't actually unleash the seal unless certain requirements were met. So I think you can have the same thing here for Mitsuki when it comes to his Sage Mode, to where, say if there's still some damage that's going to be done to his body by using it, and it's a last resort to use the full amount of that power, then Mitsuki being somebody that specializes in poisons because of the Orochimaru connection, and having him be somebody that understands the human body and actually start learning some of that medical ninjutsu, that also allows him to be an attack specialist as well, because I think a lot of people confuse medical ninjutsu with just saying, oh, this is somebody that has to be on the sidelines and can actually throw down. Because if you look at what Tsunade did against Kabuto during the Search for Tsunade arc, Tsunade had a few different jutsu that she used when she fought against Kabuto that was absolutely broken when you think about it. So the first thing you have to look at is that Kabuto was able to use the chakra scalpel jutsu, and he was able to cut up some of Tsunade's tendons, and we know based on how potent that is that you can also directly go at somebody's organs if you get a clean enough shot on somebody. So that is something you could see Mitsuki actually start incorporating. And then the other thing is that Tsunade has a lightning release jutsu where she's able to actually start messing up the electrical imbalances inside of your actual body. And so once that stuff happens, Tsunade was able to basically, every time Kabuto moved his pinky, he was actually moving, say, his left ball sack. His whole body was screwed up when it came to movements, and Kabuto had to relearn how to use his body right there on the fly. So I think that looking at that, that's something to where Mitsuki could learn something like that. And then the other thing is he's in good hands with Kabuto, because anybody that has to learn how to actually reuse their body right there on the spot and be able to keep up with the Sanin, granted it's a Sanin that has some issues that she was dealing with at the time, but still being able to keep up with somebody that's a Sanin is very impressive for Kabuto's intellect. Now, the other thing you can kind of look at when it comes to Mitsuki is that I think that, yes, Mitsuki having 3 changes in chakra nature is something absolutely broken. However, if we're gonna go the route of Mitsuki being a support ninja, I think Mitsuki needs to add one more change in chakra nature. So he already has wind release, he already has water release, he already has a lightning release. I think that Mitsuki needs to add something like earth release. That way he can be a complete support ninja, being able to use something like the earth mud wall jutsu. The only problem with adding all these different chakra natures is that whatever your strongest affinity is, that's always going to be your strongest one. And then every nature you add after the fact is going to be a little bit weaker than whatever your main affinity is. You can train up your jutsu, but they're never going to be as strong as whatever your main affinity is. So that's the only drawback to that. Now, I know a few people would say, hey, why can't Mitsuki make his own jutsu? He's made some of his own jutsu, but I get what people are saying where he needs to come up with a instant kill jutsu or just something absolutely broken that works with his sage mode. And when you add in that nature energy with elemental attacks, maybe you have something where if somebody like Code does become a true problem in the future, that allows Mitsuki to be able to actually step in. I wouldn't be opposed to that. The only problem with that is we would be in a situation like how in the Naruto manga, Sasuke just showed up with Kirin out of nowhere. There was no evidence of the actual training that took place. Sasuke's whole training arc took place off screen. The thing is that I would like to see Kabuto help Mitsuki develop a newer jutsu. I think that could be something that works, or at the very least, we could see something to where Log is working with his brother, and that would be something that would be kind of nice to see, because I've seen a lot of people say, well, Log and Mitsuki need more development time. That would be something, and it would be something that actually fits into the overall theme of the Boruto franchise, which is about family, where maybe you have Orochimaru and Log actually work with Mitsuki, and then you bring Kabuto in on the back end, because in a way Kabuto is kind of like family to Orochimaru. So that is something you could kind of consider. However, I want to know from you guys, what do you guys want to see Mitsuki add when it comes to his time skip power up? Let me know down in the comment section below. But as always, guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day, guys.